Lord Rissano of Salamandastron put aside his quill and capped a tiny gourd of ink with a wooden stopper. Leaving his study, the badger went downstairs, clutching a wooden pail full of parchment scrolls. He was met at the bottom by his wife, Lady Rosalorn, who shook her head reprovingly at him. "So that's where my pail went. I've been looking everywhere for it. Aren't you ashamed of yourself, pinching pails?" However, Rissano looked anything but ashamed. He held up the pail and shook it triumphantly. "Look, Rosalorn, I've finished it. My history of Lord Brocktree's journey and conquest of our mountain." Rosalorn smiled at her husband. He was the kindest and wisest badger Salamandastron had ever known, though when he was enthusiastic about his pet projects he behaved like a cheerful, eager youngster. She took hold of his ink-stained paw as they walked to the dining hall. "They're all waiting, you know. Remember, you promised to read them the story once you'd completed it." Rissano chuckled. "I don't suppose Snowstripe, Melanius, and the Leverets would wait a day or two until I tidy this manuscript up a bit." Rosalorn stopped Rissano in his tracks. "There's not just our son and daughter and some young Leverets waiting to hear you read the tale. Word has got round. Every hare on the mountain wants to hear it too." Rissano turned and made for the stairs, but his wife held on to his paw. The badger lord appeared rather flustered. "Every hare, you say? You mean all of them? But I only meant this as something for the young uns, to teach them a little of our mountain's history." Rosalorn squeezed his paw affectionately. "That's not fair. What about us older ones, the parents and the grandkin? Aren't we entitled to know our mountain's history? I, for one, would love to hear it. Besides, you have a wonderful storytelling voice. Oh, say you'll read it to us all, Rissano, please." The badger lord allowed himself to be led off again towards the dining hall. "Oh, all right. It'll take a few days. This is a big work. I've been 2 seasons now reading through dusty old parchments, interviewing creatures for stories about their ancestors, and studying carvings in the forge. I've sat on the shore listening to sea otters, stood beneath trees recording squirrels. I've even had to crouch for 4 days in a mole dwelling. Had to keep waking those 2 fat old moles up so I could hear their story. Do you know, it was told to them by their great-grandma, who had it from her old aunt's cousin, twice removed on the uncle's side, or so they said." Rosalorn stood with her hand on the door latch. Yes, I know all that, Rissano. It won't matter how long you take to read the thing. You can space it out a bit every evening. Nothing nicer on a winter's night than a good story. Now, the fire's banked up, supper's on the table, and every beast is waiting, so in you go." The dining hall was packed to capacity, mainly with hares, though there was a scattering of moles, squirrels, hedgehogs, mice, and some visiting otters. Lord Rissano was immediately captured by his 2 young offspring, Melanius and Snowstripe, who tugged him up the 3 broad steps to where his chair had been placed, next to a supper-laden table. Papa, read the story to us, please. Are me and Snowstripe in the story, Papa?" Rissano chuckled as he sat them down on the cushioned chair arms on either side of him. "Great seasons! You'd have to be many seasons old to be in this tale. Now sit still and be quiet, my dears." Silence fell over the hall, broken only by the doors opening as the duty cooks came hurrying in. Every beast turned round and shushed them loudly, and quiet was restored once more. Rissano split open a small loaf, cut a thick chunk of cheese, and jammed it in the bread, making himself a rough sandwich. Every eye was upon him as he took a few good bites and washed them down with a half-tankard of October ale. The still atmosphere was broken by a small hedgehog squeaking aloud, "When's Badger Lord going to get on with it?" Rissano left off eating and looked quizzically at the hog-babe. "Get on with what?" A deafening roar rang from the crowded hall. "The story!" Rissano looked up in mock surprise. "Oh, did you want me to read you my story?